Hey class, Eric Langan here, and just watched the Frontline video of policing the police. And some concepts that I noticed while watching the video was pretty much like the title, "Policing the Police." How can we control the police officers to make sure that they are, in fact, not committing crimes themselves? They talked a lot about the police subculture, so like how police see things, just kind of from a police officer's point of view, with all the ride-alongs that he was able to do. He talked about the Fourth Amendment with the searching and seizures. What is the probable cause? And I'll talk about that a little later in the video. But next point. So what surprised me was like the probable cause. So when people would grab for their waistband and cops would be like, "Oh, that's probable cause. Now let's go and completely search, like stop and frisk these guys." And that really that really surprised me. Also, a little bit from the first bullet and the second bullet, what surprised me and what was talked about in the video was racial profiling. Seemed that they were predominantly minority neighborhoods that they were patrolling, but so they were the only ones being stopped and randomly frisked. So that was also a big part of the video. So police empathy. So I can kind of see where the cops are coming from, because like what would you do in that same situation? Because you don't know if a person's dangerous. You have to protect your life, and that's a daily basis. So it's scary to have a gun drawn on you, but I mean, as a cop, I would feel more safe with if I had a gun drawn, just in case something crazy happens. But I mean, again, people are gonna act crazy with a gun drawn on them. And of course, my perspective is from a white American rather than a minority. So I can't really talk from personal experience, but I did have a lot of friends that grew up in Vegas that I went to college with during my high school career. I took some college credits while I was in high school, and they were from Las Vegas. And they said every single time that they were pulled over by a police officer just for speeding or something like minor, their entire car would get searched, no matter what it was for, and they would get searched completely. They'd be on their car, handcuffed, being treated like criminals, and then every single time nothing was found, they were released. But like per the amendment, that shouldn't happen. But I guess it's just completely different than from what I've seen compared to bigger cities. So the civilian board, I think that's a wonderful idea. I think as police are they're working for the public, like police cameras. I think that should all be like public information. The police footage, like why if nobody does anything wrong, then they just don't do anything wrong, and it wouldn't matter if you get to see it or not. So I think a civilian board where they get to see like the body cameras is a wonderful idea. And then on top of that, if we have a police officer on the board himself or herself, then it'd be help. I think that would also help because they can kind of explain like what the cop is saying. Because like from a cop's perspective, like we talked about, like police empathy, like how a cop is going to feel in that same situation, like in the dark room, they're scared uh, to have a gun out. Like other people can see it a different way. So a cop on the board is a great idea. Um, and so this negative relationship that has been put in place, not put in place, but sort of now is a thing that police and people are kind of distant from each other. I think it can be replaced, but it's going to require a lot of work, not only on police officers, but also on people. Because at the end of the video, when there was that new police officer that was trying to work at a different way, there's still people telling him to screw off because they don't want to talk to police. So if people are willing to just talk to police rather than uh, just run away from them and think of the police over here and the people over here, and if we meet in the middle, then I think we can really fix the relationship. And that's really what it's going to take. Just some people, like cops, not just patrolling, but living in the neighborhoods, and just meeting with the people, not just always going out to arrest people, just really getting to know people. And that's how we're going to solve more crimes, I believe. But I really liked the Frontline video, and hope you guys talk to you guys soon. See ya.